The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit all of that stuff. All of that stuff helps the reach and the growth of the channel. We are so very close. I posted this on Twitter or X today. We are literally less than 200. We're like pretty much at 100. 117 at the time of me posting that. So we're so very close. Just need a little bit more. Now, the opposition is trying to slow us down. They blocked my video yesterday, but we're not going to let that stop us, okay? Now, before we go, I want to say I did make an announcement on my community tab. I made an announcement on my community tab that all of the moderators, because we're going to be improving the channel. So all of the moderators need to reach out to me so they can contact me directly. You see, shout out to everybody in here. We have almost 30 people in here in the first 2 minutes. I appreciate every single last person in here. So if you are a moderator, go check out that community tab. I'm not going to talk too much about it. At least not right now. Go check that community tab out and then get in touch with me. So, getting on to what we're talking about right now. The color purple has come out Christmas Day. So, it's been a couple days. And already, to no surprise to absolutely anybody, this comes to a surprise to absolutely nobody whatsoever, but it's already pushing feminist, gender divide, gender war. It's this intersectional. It's already pushing that, all right? Which we knew it was going to do because that's what the first one did. We knew this one was going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to talk about it because this is something that we have to push back against. We absolutely have to push back against. So I got some stuff. I'm going to pull up this from it's not going to be the beginning. This is an article from, where is it from? It's from NBC News. Now, I'm going to be going to the end of the article because in the beginning, they talk about how much the characters loved each other and all of that stuff. And that's not what we're here to talk about. Towards the end, that's when they start to kind of push the agenda through. So we're going to be talking about that. Then we got some more evidence. Then we got some stuff we really want to talk about and why we need to push back against all of this stuff. So let's get started here. Now, like I said, this comes from NBC News. All right. So we already know they got an agenda to divide black men and black women. That's just what they are. That's just what they do. I'm sorry. That's what I mean. Now, it says, since we're in the end, we're really starting off right here. So follow me right about that point. All right. Now, it says, the 1985 adaptation of, quote, The Color Purple, directed by Steven Spielberg, was nominated for 11 Academy Awards. Though it won none, its release was stepped in controversy, with boycotts over its depiction of black men and critics having Spielberg handle the film instead of a black filmmaker. Excuse me. It says some of that controversy has resurfaced again after the release of the trailer of Baz Walls. That's the actor or director, his last name. If I'm mispronouncing it, then it is what it is. Baz Walls' movie, largely on social media and YouTube, with internet users echoing sentiments voiced nearly 40 years ago. In a 1986 Washington Post article, a black male law professor called it, quote, a very dangerous film, and a Maryland NAACP official said the movie reinforced, quote, the notion of black men as beasts. Demonstrators picketed the film's premiere. Excuse me. Demonstrators picketed the film's premiere back then, and black celebrities such as Spike Lee condemned it for its portraying black men as, quote, one-dimensional animals. So back then, this is back during when it first came out, when the movie first came out, people was all like, hey, we don't appreciate really this adaptation. This is not accurate adaptation. This is an adaptation we should be having. All right. Now it continues to say, now here they try to flip it. Many black women didn't see it that way. Instead, many viewed Spielberg's, quote, Color Purple as a refreshing depiction of their lived experience. One Chicago woman, Ernest Thomas, told the New York Times in 1986 that she knew many women like Zelle, which is the main character that was abused in the movie. Okay, that's her name. So you're going to hear that a lot in the next thing we're going to read. So she knew many women like Zelle while growing up in Mississippi, including herself, her mothers and aunts, who were all abused by their husbands. Seeing a similar story unfolded on screen ultimately, quote, lifted a burden, Thomas said. Okay, so let's just pause that. Does that make sense? If I was bullied in school, if I was always bullied in school, let's just say, or a person, you, anybody, was always bullied in school, would watching a movie of somebody being bullied in school lift the burden of me being bullied in school? Does that sound like a genuine response, or does that sound like something that is coached? Because they need somebody to get out there in front of the media and be like, well, I am a black woman and I say I really enjoy it, and that is the true 100% accurate depiction of our lived experience. Just let's be honest. Does that sound like a genuine response that somebody would make? Watching somebody else get beat up, it lifted the burden of me when I used to get beat up. People don't talk like that. That's how you know all this stuff is coached. This is propaganda. Let's continue, though. That's Oprah. I mean, hugged up tight with Spielberg. I mean, couldn't tell them nothing. All right. All right. Okay, Oprah. It continues to say, quote, black women should not be sacrificed for black men's pride, she added. Let the film roll. Oh, okay. Black women shouldn't be sacrificed for black men's pride. Really? Oh, wow. That's how they feel about it. Says, Oprah Winfrey, who played Sophia in the first film, defended the movie against its critics then. Quote, this movie is not trying to represent the history of black people in this country any more than The Godfather was trying to represent the history of Italian Americans. In this case, it's one woman's story, she told the New York Times. Winfrey, that's Oprah Winfrey, they're saying Winfrey and Spielberg are both producers of the new iteration of the film, set to debut on Christmas Day. So this was a little bit before Christmas. It says, when Spielberg's movie came around nearly 4 decades ago, some men also defended the movie, including Julia Norris. Someone no one knows. Julian Norris, a black Chicago Tribune writer who called it, quote, one of the most beautiful and tender movies. Oh, wow. Okay. This man was trying to get himself up in the game. Said what he had to say. Says the beautiful and tender movies he had ever seen. Wow. All right. He added, Quote, being a black man, I was not upset at the depiction of black men. I realized that the men who were portrayed in the movie did not represent all black men. Okay, all right. Then he says, now some of the actors in Boswell's, I was just going to say Boswell's film, say they view it as more of a healing opportunity than a vehicle to stroke gender divides. Howicks, who plays Harpo, spoke through tears earlier this month as he recalled having his father attend the film's Los Angeles premiere. Quote, our love language has evolved over the years, but to sit with him and watch him produce a feel was special for me as a man, as a black man, he said. I was watching him be healed by this story. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, okay. Playwright Marsha Norman adapted The Color Purple into a musical for the stage in 2005, a production that received 11 Tony nominations. Its 2015 reveal earned only two Tony wins, one for Cynthia Erivo's portrayal as Celeste, and Cynthia Erivo, who, no surprise, and another for Best Musical Reveal. Danielle Brooks also earned a Tony nomination for her role as Sophia in The Reveal. The Color Purple is slated to premiere in North America on December 25th and internationally beginning January 18th, 2024. Now, of course, this article was done before the movie started. It was done before the movie. Now, here is the thing. Some people are going to be like, well, it's not all black men. They're not talking about all black men. If it don't apply to you, you shouldn't be offended by it. But you don't see us doing that with other groups of people. You're literally taking a film, and this is something that's been done. This is why we have to understand our history in this country. Because if we want to go all the way back to Birth of the Nation, they had black men be the same thing as in The Color Purple. Beasts, villains, animals, the criminals, the bad guys. And the KKK, that's in the original Birth of a Nation movie, the KKK, they were the good guys to save the day from the negative black men. And all of the black men were negative. So now you have this Color Purple movie, which really was the catalyst of a lot of other media portrayals of black men being these big black bad guys who have no heart and no remorse and no loyalty or morality to anybody but themselves. They're these selfish animals who only care about destruction and themselves. That movie was like the stepping stone, or one of the major stepping stones, that led to that narrative being portrayed. All right. That's what we're calling out. Now, well, it's just her experience. A lot of people say it's just their experience. Okay. But if we flip the script and it was a black main character and all of the women were hood rats, all of them were, prostitute or whatever. All of them were negative. They were bad moms. They were crackheads. They were criminals. They were liars. Every single black woman you saw was negative, deplorable women. And then that movie goes to win 11 Tony nominations, and they're talking about how great and wonderful this movie is. And the only people who are positive are black men, and everybody who's negative is black women. And that movie gets a lot of awards. People would call it propaganda, anti-black women propaganda. But the thing is, when it's black men, it's all like, oh, well, you can't say it. That's her experience, though. You can't deny her experience, though. So that's the problem. And the thing is that it's not the fact that it's her experience. It's the fact that we know that there is propaganda that's going to follow after, quote unquote, her experience is depicted in the film like it is, like this. All right. Not soon after, it says commentary for all excuse me, commentary for all its joy. The Color Purple is also a chance to talk about black women in intimate partner violence. So who didn't see this coming? See, this is why we say the thing about those types of movies, because they like to say, well, it's just a movie. It's just, they gaslight and they say, well, it's just a movie. You guys shouldn't feel no type of way. But the movie becomes the stepping stone for the, man, ain't all black men bad? It becomes the stepping stone for that. Just like this, they're taking this based off the movie because the movie is anti-black men propaganda. Just the same way the Birth of the Nation movie was anti-black men propaganda. All right. So it says, while seeing, quote, The Color Purple earlier this month, I noticed the audience members gasp at the twite sound when young Celie was first struck across the face after getting married and coming into Albert, quote, Mr., they called him Mr. in the movie, Mr. Johnson's home. So she was, physically abused. Now they're saying it was a momentary gasp, but still was one of the earliest moments that showed that Celie, I don't know why Celie would endure for decades to come. But years after Alice Walker's book was published in 1982, the film first came out in 1985 and was in the theater productions. Hearing those gasps, even though many of us knew what was coming, showed how unbelievable it can still feel to see those flashes of violence right before us. It goes on to say, but there are certain politics that come with films that explore black communities and stories of violence and trauma. You see, the thing is that they talk about, well, it's just a movie from their own experience, it's just their own experience, but these movies are propaganda. And then you're going to have think pieces like this to say, well, really, The Color Purple is really the story of every black woman. If you really want to think about it, The Color Purple is really a really deep dive into the black community. Every single time we have an anti-black male propaganda movie pop up like this, you always have people all like, man, is this finally the time to have a real conversation in the black community? Can we finally be honest about what's going on in the black community? Every time, without fail, and this movie did it all the way back in 1986, and it's doing it now in 2023, like how they planned. It continues to say, there's the usual question of why can't more films explore black joy? There's always the debate over the graphic nature of scenes showing violence, sexual assault. I don't really want to say that word on YouTube. Violence, sexual assault, and the realities of historical enslavement and other anguishes black people experience. And then there's the sobering reality that there's so many stories we still do not know, and perhaps will never know about black history. When the first, quote, Color Purple came out in 1985, starring Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, Margaret Avery, and Donald Glover, it was met with heavy criticism by poetic black advocacy organizations, including the local NAACP Hollywood and Beverly Hills chapter. The film faced criticism for how black men were portrayed and how it would be potentially devastating for black men. Excuse me. I have a little stuffy nose, so I'm trying to flush it out. So that's why I'm taking water breaks a little bit. It says, I am getting better, guys. Some people, I've said this on Instagram, I am getting better, getting this bug out. It says, we saw versions of these debates with 2009 film Precious, the 2010 film For Colored Girls. I didn't see For Color. I did not see For Colored Girls. And the 2013 film 12 Years a Slave. Did we see versions of that debate with 12 Years a Slave? I don't remember versions of that debate with 12 Years a Slave like that, but okay, maybe I missed it. It says, all of the films in their own right inspired discussions about the depictions and what it means when art imitates life too close to home, and our respective relationships, and how we understand our willingness to engage with the intersection of trauma and pop culture. Pop culture. That's, see, and this goes into the the whole thing is kind of hip hop and pop culture is kind of anti-woman. It's kind of misogynist. It's kind of sexist. This is the propaganda, and it's coming. We all knew it was coming. It says, anytime movies or shows like this are released, it also means holding space for individuals who decline to watch, no matter how important they might become to Black pop culture history. For the sake of one's peace and mental health, especially if there's discomfort with talking about the topics. It continues to say, a recent Time story talked about how the new color purple is designed to not necessarily overwhelm viewers about the trauma of Zelle, but first by Felicia Pierce Passy, and then by Fantasia Barano. The film surges into joyful bursts of songs, choreography, and movements of levity, as the Broadway musical did. But in between this, the film has to also be in line with the book, where Zelle suffers physical and emotional abuse over decades. I was touched by the songs and performances, but the new Color Purple film, for all its joy, should still be allowed to be an important cultural, keep in mind, look at the words they're using, cultural reflection on how we talk about various kinds of violence against Black women. All right. While it has endured for decades on the page, on the screen, and on stage for its depths, the only way intimate partner violence is talked about, studied, and analyzed has slowly changed too. 11 years after the book was published, the public health community started to consider, I don't know if you should say that, I'm going to just say partner violence or intimate violence, because I think the DV, I think that's a flag word. So if I replace that, then just keep in mind that's what I'm doing. Started to consider intimate violence and a public health issue. The data from the federal report from 1995 to 1996 were the first to document the incident and prevalence of intimate partner violence, sexual violence, and stalking. The most data available, excuse me, hold on. The most recent data available from the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey from 2016 to 2017 found that nearly 54% of Black women said that they had experienced sexual violence physical violence and or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetimes. So they're bringing up a lot of statistics. Even though all of these things that they listed are bad, sexual violence, physical violence, and or stalking, to put all of these three things, because these are all different things, to put all of these three things, even if they're all bad, in one category and say, well, it's been 54%. Okay, well, I mean, you're going to have to really break that down, because we can't sit here and act like what you might determine as stalking is the same as sexual violence. So let's not bundle all of these things up so you can get a larger percentage number. So then you can try to have a narrative and push a narrative about how black men are just these abused victims by the hands of black men, or black women are victims by the hands of black men. Continue to say, it's a sobering statistic and rarely acknowledged reality that illustrates why it's difficult to have a fruitful conversation about the dynamics that black women face with intimate violence. The book, the theater, and film depicts depictions of, quote, the color purple and their core's principles, an important story about the resilience of black women. Resilience is a muscle that takes time to develop individually and communally. But resilience also requires reckoning with reality. The reality here is that we still struggle to speak about intimate partner violence, including what it looks like, who it can happen to, and they're in assuming that extracting yourself from an abusive relationship is a simple task. Okay. Somebody saying get well soon. Thank you, Iron. I appreciate that. I'm gonna knock by tomorrow's live stream. This is gonna be knocked out. But here's the thing. Getting on to this situation right here, right? What they just said. When do we not have these conversations? Because every time a propaganda piece, because that's what The Color Purple is, it's a propaganda piece that's disguised as a musical, so it doesn't seem all bad. But anytime we have a propaganda piece, we always hear words like, can we finally tell the story that so many black women have been trying to tell for so long but haven't been listened to? When do we not talk about, when is this not a safe space to talk about that type of stuff? Why? It's only when it's a movie like this that pops up do people act like all of a sudden I'm finally brave enough to acknowledge this has happened to me as well. No, this is not something in the black community that if you're a woman and you speak about, you're gonna get ostracized. That's not what happens. But these propaganda pieces act like it's finally time to come out of the closet, black women, and be brave and talk about how you've been abused. It's okay. We're here for you. They always do that. But there's never really in the black community, it's never really how dare you ever say you've been abused. That's not how the black community operates. It's how other communities operate. Excuse me. But it's not how the black one does, not the black community. Then it continues to say, though, in order to appreciate Celi's path to freedom, you have to bear witness and sit with the uncomfortable and complex truth about the harm she endured, whether reading it or watching it. The other reality is resilience is not always enough for black women to overcome the challenges of social, systematic, and institutional misogyny. Oh, knew that word was coming. Continues to say, the experiences of black women. Now, did not they say that this story and the other thing in the very other article I read before, they said, oh, well, black men can't feel no type of way about this. Black men shouldn't be able to feel no type of way about this because this only depicts a story of one person. They always say that, oh, this is only the story of one person. So how are you going to feel? It's not a general story. Nobody's using it general. They'll take this story of Zelle, and then they'll take the story of Zelle, and then they'll be all like, well, this is kind of really a reflection of all black women, and all black women go through this to some degree. That's what they use this as. And then when we, as black men, we are like, hold on, you can't really put this jacket on all of us. Okay, well, no, we're not saying all of you guys are abusers. Of course we're not. We're just saying all black women are abused by you all. That's what we're saying. That's literally what they say. Notice, she's not even saying Zelle, she's saying black women. The experiences of black women who survive intimate violence cannot only be framed in terms of hope, but also the weight of the reality that their experiences are overlooked. Now, okay, and as much truth to that as that statement is also that not the case for black men? Do black men also not be in abusive relationships? Every time we have, as a community, the conversation of abusive relationships, it always becomes the thing of, well, black women are abused. Black women are abused. Okay. Nobody ever makes room for the stories of black men being abused. And okay, if we're going to focus and talk about black women being abused, if we're going to talk about that, you guys talk about that, and then you guys generalize all black men. You put all black men in that light. All of the black men gotta wear that jacket. That's how you do. So that's where the pushback is coming from. But let me finish. It says, what's more, to appreciate the 1985 film and the 2023 one, it is also important to work. It is also appreciate to work the black actors and actresses who, oh Lord, okay, hold on, I'm misreading and everything. Start over. It says, what's more, to appreciate the 1985 film and the 2003 one, it is to also appreciate the work the black actors and actresses did to bring Walker's work into life. It's not only about talented performance, but also the willingness and courage of each cast member to immerse themselves in the darker parts of the material that reflect on the human heaviness of abuse and violence. It says, we see that especially for Barano, who has played Zelle before, and also a survivor of sexual assault. Now, let's continue. I appreciate the super chats, brothers. I'm gonna get to that in just a second because we don't got too much more to go. We're almost done. Says, when Glover and Coleman Domingo delivered the quote, "You're black, you're poor, you're ugly, you're a woman" line in the film, it underscored all of the emotional and mental abuse that Zelle dealt with, as well as the tangible manipulations that often keep black women from leaving abusive relationships. That includes not having the financial means to leave and being told that no one in the world would want to be with them. The cruelty of that line, the cruelty of it, even after appearing in the book 41 years ago, has a haunting resonance because these tactics, isolation, financial dependence, physical violence, are still used by abusers today to prevent women from leaving. Y'all, really? Really though? Now, these same articles will tell you that black women are out here killing the game, and black women got more money than black men, and black men need to step their game up to be with black women because black women out here just doing a thing, and black men, where you at? These are the articles that will tell you that on one hand, and then tell you on the other hand, well, it's the financial dependence, and she knows if she says anything, she'll be homeless, and she has nowhere else to go because she has no family or friends or a job. She's in a house cooking chicken, and she gets smacked around every day, and if she dare calls the police, he'll hunt her down like an animal. That's what they say. Okay. All right. It says, for all of the music and joy in this film, we shouldn't allow it to lose sight of the fact that whether we know it or not, we all know or are in proximity to a black woman like Zelle, even in the year 2023. For every Zelle who does, quote, overcome the obstacles to freedom, they make it seem like she escaped slavery. But okay. Overcomes the obstacles of freedom with domestic violence. Oh, I just said it. Anyway, there's a black woman who dies trying to do the same thing. We cannot properly reflect on the courage of Zelle's story in the film remake without also having the courage to talk about how modern day intimate violence happens in our role as a collective to prevent it or stop it before it's too late. Okay. Hold on, y'all. I gotta get some. When you guys are not feeling that well, get a lot of water. Keep your body hydrated. All right? That's always a good thing. What article was that? That was from the LA Times. The first one was from NBC News. Second one's from the LA Times. And I read that way in order because the first one came first. All right. Now, this is why we speak against that stuff. This is why we speak against that stuff, because we understand that you guys are not just telling a story. You guys are pushing propaganda. You're pushing propaganda. What you guys are going to do is you guys are going to be like, hold on, no, you can't get mad. No, this is the story of her. This is her story, and you can't say nothing about her story. This is her story now. And then we all like, okay, well, we can respect her story. We can respect that. But the thing is, though, you don't stop at that being her story. Because let's be very, very clear, if this was a black man and a black man who grew up and said, this is my honest truth, I grew up and every single black woman was a terrible woman. They were all bad. Every single last one of them. All the worst women you could possibly think. The worst stereotypes you could possibly think. And let's make that into a movie. And then let's say because of the movie, because of my quote unquote anecdotal experience, that can somewhat be falsified. All of it can't be verified. Because of my anecdotal experience, we're going to make a movie and then say, instead of just looking at this as a movie in the depiction of a book, let's look at this movie as a reflection of the black community. And this is what we have all the time with those books. All the time when they make those books, it's just a movie. They gaslight. It's excuse me. They say it's just a movie. It's just a movie. Okay, if it's just a movie, why do we not just let it just be a movie? Why do you try to take it a step further and then try to say, well, it's a movie, but it's really a deep-rooted depiction of all of the Cinderella stories that black women have to go through, and it's just so terrible and tragic for them. Why? Let me get to the super chats. Shout out to Tom Slick for the super sticker. Thank you very much. $10 super sticker. Thank you very much. Corey Green, thank you very much for the super chat. 499 says, Afro, you show dude this show to segue into Tom Dr. Sorry, let me look a little. Dr. Tommy Corey's work. Okay. I'm not sure exactly who that is. He already assumed debunked feminist talking points about intimate partner violence. You know what? I'm going to look into that. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to look into what he's talking about, the intimate partner violence. And then we have more super chats. He says, good points. Good point. Your point is good. Elite is thank you very much. And then speak on the E. 2 more super chats from my brother Tom. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Corey. All right. This is why we have to push back against this. Because let me tell you something. But because we got more stuff. Because when I tell you this is a propaganda piece, and it's not just the article, now you're seeing this conversation happen in the community. We have to push back against this stuff. Because when they make the big bad boogeyman, the black man be the boogeyman, that ultimately leads to the justification and the rationalization of black men being harmed. If you know then this is why it's important to know our history. If we know our history with Birth of a Nation, it started out like, ha ha ha, it's jokes, it's just funny, it's just a movie. And then that was a propaganda piece. And with the propaganda piece of the KKK and the propaganda piece of Birth of a Nation, then that led to the justification of treating black people, not just the black men, but black people in general, like animals. So when we see propaganda pieces, it is very, very important for us as the community to immediately push back against that. And everybody in other communities, they understand when you see negative propaganda pieces that are trying to be pushed onto you and your community, you have to immediately push back against that. All right. When you look at the pandemic, remember Donald Trump was the president, and Donald Trump was all like, the pandemic came from China. The pandemic came from China. That's all our research. All our research is saying the pandemic came from China. The Chinese was like, look, it don't matter where it came from. Don't say that. Do not say it came. Don't say it came from a. Don't call it the Chinese. Remember, in the beginning, they was all like, oh, it's the Chinese virus. They like, no, don't do that. Do not do that. We are not tolerating. No, don't call it the Chinese virus at all. Why? Because when you do that, you're associating us as Chinese people or Asian people with something that is very negative. That's propaganda, and that will be used to justify us being harmed later on. They were on that. They know for a fact, hey, don't you call that the Asian virus? Don't you call that the Chinese virus? They understand that propaganda, what happens, what's said in the media, what circulates in the media, eventually, if it's a film, if it's a politician, if it's a this, then there will be one article talking about it. Then there'll be another article talking about it. Then there'll be a YouTube video about it. And then it'll reach the community. Then the community will start to talk about it and have feelings on it. They knew that from the very beginning. And that's why a lot of black men, when the first movie came out, that's why a lot of black men, when the first movie came out, was like, hey, no, we not doing that. That's why Spike Lee and all those black men was like, hey, we can't be pushing. No, this is anti-black male propaganda. But with the excuse me, what the dominant society will do is they'll say, oh, well, it's not racist because it's starring a black woman. She's black. She's black. So it's not racist. This is just a real accurate story of a black woman's experience. And you can't, I mean, she's black, so you can't say it's anti-black because she's black. That's how they do it. And too often, because the thing is that the propaganda is always going to affect both black men and black women. Okay, it will always do that. Okay, you're not going to have the men in the community be animalized and dehumanized and not simultaneously have to do the same thing with the women in the community. It can't work one way. You can't say all the black men are negative, bad beasts and animals and less than human, and then be all like, well, the black women, they're so smart and educated and beautiful and graceful. That it won't work like that. When we're all one community. When you dehumanize one part of the community, that also simultaneously dehumanizes the rest of the community as well too. That's why in the Birth of a Nation film, the main villain of the movie were black men, but you didn't in Jim Crow. You saw them have the same rules against black women as well too. Jim Crow had the same rules against black women. They was like, "No, you all niggas and you all in the same boat." In Jim Crow, there wasn't like, well, this is the white water fountain, the black male water fountain, and the black women can drink after the white water fountain. They didn't allow that. So there's too many feminists who are out here thinking that this is only going to target the black men and they not going to get the backfire of this, that they think that they're far enough from the explosion to not be blown up. And when they hit that button, it blows everybody up. It affects everybody. It harms everybody. So this is why it's very important that we push back against this stuff, because this will reach the community. Let me show you this. So it's already, and you already know, the feminists online, not the solid black sisters, but the feminists online is sitting up there having themselves a field day. We already know that. Look at this. Okay. Excuse me. It says, rewatching The Color Purple made me realize just how delusional men are, because black men are really upset at the movie. Even tried to boycott it because it quote showed black men in a bad light. When these are the real things happening to black women by the hands of black men. Idiots. Okay. All right. Now, if we had a propaganda piece, if we had a movie about two black sons who were constantly abused physically, psychologically, emotionally by their mother and all of the other black women around them, and no black woman ever showed them any love whatsoever, and everybody's all like, well, yep, that's kind of really that's really how black men feel. Black men do kind of feel like you guys are all bad women and you all are terrible mothers. I mean, one black man had a terrible mother, so you kind of all are bad mothers. If we said that, you guys would say that's anti-black woman propaganda. But when it's on us, when the shoe is on your foot or our foot, when we're the joke, when we're the bad guy, then we just have to accept it because it's the reality that we all put you all through. Okay, let's continue. It says, y'all love black women until you realize they love themselves too. Wow. Okay. The minute it becomes clear they are confident in themselves, with or without y'all permission, y'all start tearing them down. Really? 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 No. No. Y'all love black women to black women start loving themselves too. It's the confidence. No. It's more likely that you have a very stuck up egotistical attitude, and when people are real with you about, nah, you not really Oprah. Oprah's Oprah. You not Oprah because you got a new iPhone. Let's calm that down. You are not Beyonce. You sing in the shower, not on the stage. You're not Beyonce. You're not Oprah. Then it's, oh, you're hating. You're jealous of my black girl magic. I can't believe it. Like, now you seeing all this stuff is recent. Now all of these black women are coming out of the woodworks. All of the black feminists, not those solid sisters, but all of the black feminists are coming out of the woodworks. All like, well, me too, and I was abused, and he said he didn't. But then there's more, as you can see. Hold on, was it this one? Oh, it was this one. It says, speaking of the color purple, don't ever speak to me about black women being, quote, tricked into feminism. Watching the movie again was so triggering because it's accurate. Never forget, they used to marry off little girls to old ass men for money and livestock. You see, this stuff is not just a movie. This stuff is not just a movie. This stuff is to trigger and to light a flame to cause a gender war. This stuff is propaganda to cause a gender war, because now you're seeing online, this is not an article, this is not nothing else. Online, now you're seeing them being all like, well, no, it's a now it accurately depicts black women because we're all getting beat up by our husbands. All of us are, really, all of us, 100%. Like, really okay. This is the propaganda, and we got the black feminists just falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Here's another one. Oh, now that was a solid sister. Okay. But we got a couple more. Because I do want to highlight the solid sisters here. It says, reminder that Spike Lee's, quote, "She Gotta Have It," is a misogynistic response to The Color Purple. It was his way to humble black women. You guys notice? Do you guys notice that that's a thing that's being said? I don't know where. Hold on, but let me take this off for a second. I don't know where they're getting the word. Someone on some channel. Somebody please find it for me. On some channel or something, there's been, oh, they're humbling. But notice that you're hearing humbling black women and humbling and a couple years ago, you didn't hear that. Now you hear humbling and humbling and humbling and humbling, and black men humble and humble and there's some type of think tank that inserted that in there. And you got the delusional black feminists, just like the word intersectionality. When dumb people find a new word, they repeat that word over and over and over again because it makes them feel smart. Now they finally found the word humble, so they're going to repeat the word humble and humble and humble. How dare you humble me? Well, how dare you be arrogant? Woman, what the hell? It says, try to humble black women. To see these, quote, men respond the what that they have been is funny AF, cause it shows again how much black men lack emotional intelligence. That's another new word that they like saying because they feel smart by saying it. It's another one. Emotional intelligence. Okay. All right. We like it. Now, here's the thing. When you say, well, the color purple is just an accurate movie about how we feel, and how can you gaslight how we feel, and how can you negate how we feel, and you're so misogynist and harmful and not understanding and unsympathetic. Okay? So when Spike Lee makes the essential black male version of The Color Purple, it's misogynist. Oh no, that's misogynist when the shoe is on the other foot. Oh, that's bad. That's misogyny. How dare you? That's immature. You're lacking emotional intelligence. Hold on. No, that's what, according to you, the same version of the movie The Color Purple, just told from the black male perspective. So don't let them make you think that, oh, well, it's just movies telling of different people's perspective. It's just movies. It's just a movie. And it's very accurate. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So if that's the case, why are y'all mad when we got the same movie just showing our perspective of our life? See, because they know what they're doing. They know the fact that this is going to be generally used against black men, specifically straight black men, is going to be used against us. And then that's going to justify us being harmed, us being overpunished, us being overpoliced, our oppression. That's going to be used as the cover and the justification of that. All right. So, but when the shoe is on the other foot, it's bad. Oh, that's misogyny. How dare you? How dare you? That's misogyny. I mean, and I mean, they was just coming out the woodworks with it. Look at this one. It says, I was thinking about this in reference to The Color Purple 1985 and how so many men hated the movie/book because it simply didn't center them and was about black women uplifting themselves and each other. Oh, Lord. Okay. Well, there's a lot of movies. No. There's a lot of movies that are good movies that don't center black men. We can name a lot of movies where black women are the center and sisterhood is the center of the movie. Black men don't have a problem with sisterhood. Black men don't have a problem with any of that. It's just a lot of times when you all get aboard this sisterhood, womanist, feminist, whatever remix to the white woman's feminism that you guys want to call it, when you guys get on board with that, it's not y'all sticking together. It's not that. It's you guys using that as a cover and a shield to start attacking and throwing darts at black men. That's what it is. It's less y'all sticking together and uplifting each other than it is you guys attacking black men. Because that's not what you're doing. You're not sticking together. Ask Oprah Winfrey how many black women she's stuck with besides Gayle King. But we did have some sisters who was riding on this. We did have that. Shout out to the good sisters, right? This one sister says, I hate The Color Purple. The framework of the movie makes it seem as if all the black men of the time were pedos, violators, abusers, and the women were all victims of men. The anti-male division propaganda is repeating itself today. It's anti-black male division propaganda. It's repeating itself. So let's be real. Let's be honest. All of the sisters wasn't really on that page. So what we have to do when we look at this situation, we have to remember that we got to call out the feminists. We all do, because this is all, and I'm going to tell you why it's so very important to do so. Because the big black boogeyman, that's this type of stuff. That's the type of stuff, the big black boogeyman narrative that gets pushed, spearheaded through films like this. becomes later, it develops, it evolves into a negative, evil thing. And it becomes the justification for situations like Trayvon Martin. It becomes the justification for things like Eric Gardner. It becomes the justification for things like Tamir Rice. It becomes the justification for things like Laquan McDonald. It becomes the justification for things like Philando Castile. It becomes the justification for things like, for people, not things, for people like George Floyd. It becomes the justification for things like Jordan Neely. It becomes those justifications. It becomes those justifications. It becomes the justification for things like Mike Brown. It becomes those justifications. The big black boogeyman and the black man is the bad guy, and you got too many delusional, insane, treacherous black feminists who are on that page, and they're going to use their blackness against the black community, because I hope you know, I hope you understand that the Trayvon Martin thing did not just affect Trayvon Martin or black men. It didn't. Because after Trayvon Martin, then what happened? Sandra Bland. Sandra Bland happened very shortly after Trayvon Martin. All right. After, or another one, Ahmaud Arbery. Ahmaud Arbery. These are the things that lead to the justification of Ahmaud Arbery. After Ahmaud Arbery, what happened then? Breonna Taylor. These are the things that we need to understand. Okay, you're not going to sit up here and attack the men and think you're going to be safe as a black woman because you think that you live in some delusional little bubble that separates you because your private parts is different. That's not how a community works. And every other great group of people understand that. So it's very, very, very crucial that we call this stuff out. All right. Now, I'm going to show you some of the sisters that have done that, because the thing is, what we have to do to develop the solution is there are sisters who call stuff out like this. And then there are the feminists, the traitors who push the propaganda and who essentially are tools of white supremacy. Essentially is what they are. They're shills, and they allow their melanin to be used for that. So that's why I showed you that one tweet from that one sister who's like, hey, I ain't with this. Now I'm gonna show you this other video, okay? Because what they try to do is they try to highlight, I'm gonna tell you, they try to highlight all of the traitors, whether they're black men or black women. They'll highlight the traitors and say, well, you see, Nicole said it, Sarah said it, Tiffany said it. Well, it's really all black women who agree. And they suppress the black women who are not on that page. So that's why it's important that we all speak up and we all highlight, especially when it comes to a gender divisive issue. We highlight the black women who are not on that page, because we can't allow the black feminists to be the representatives of black women, and then when they become the representatives, then here comes the dominant society being all like, oh, well, so the black woman said it, now okay, Oprah said it, she's black, so let's get them all. That's what they're doing. All right, so since we're talking about Oprah, that perfectly segues me into this video right here. Hold on, let me. Okay, so I'm muted.
Am I the only one who has no interest and no intentions in going to see the movie The Color Purple? I did not understand why they were remaking it. Immediately, I thought it was another money grab. And once I learned a month ago that it was a musical, it really confirmed for me that this was a money grab, not only for Oprah, but for her white producer friends. And finding out that Taraji almost walked away from this film because of the pay just lets me know that Oprah ain't learned shit. She was attached to Precious when Monique was complaining about not getting paid fairly. So you're going to tell me you, a black woman, didn't learn from that? There is no way that there isn't something that happened behind the scenes, because I am a true believer. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. This was the same person who did a whole ass documentary about Michael Jackson, who only had allegations against him. but never said anything about her homeboy, Harvey Weinstein, who was a convicted rapist. This is the same person who didn't even own her own shit when she was criticized for asking people to donate to the Maui residents when she herself owns 1,000 acres on that same island. And she could have easily owned her shit if she just took that $10 million that her and Rock donated to the Maui residents. In addition, she could have donated back all those acres of land that she has. And I say all this to say is that I love Danielle, I love Fantasia, and I love Taraji.
Oh, God.
I just don't love that Oprah and her white friends are trying to make money again on this film that deals with Black trauma. I mean, they made money off the book. I don't know how many shows they had on Broadway. They made money off the original The Color Purple movie and now this one. From a PR perspective, it just seems like they used these three women to try to get an Oscar. It's a very lazy attempt to tell more Black stories because there's about 1 billion people on this planet, and you're going to tell me not one person has written another story about Black people?
Yeah. First off, shout out to that sister. Shout out to that, because the thing is that let's be very, very real. All Black women ain't sitting up there falling for this little okey doke. All Black women ain't sitting up there like, oh, bro, oh my God, you're my queen. All Black women are not on that page. Oprah's reputation has gone down tremendously in a very short amount of time. So when we see stuff like, no, hold on, Oprah, you ain't really all that for Black women like you be pretending that you are, because you are part of this film, and this film is for sisterhood. So, but you care so much about sisters. But when your boy Harvey Weinstein was sitting up there doing what he was doing to other sisters, other Black women, and they were speaking out, you didn't say nothing. She didn't say. Oprah still has not said nothing about Harvey Weinstein. She co-signed. It was a part of a documentary about Michael Jackson after years after he died, and she still co-signed the rumors that have been thoroughly debunked by law enforcement. He went to court. He was investigated. All of the evidence was brought up. And they said, based off the evidence that we have, Michael Jackson clearly did not do this. He is free to go. And years after he died, she still co-signed a movie that was calling him a child predator. She co-signed that. She bought those two liars back up on her platform to tell their story years after they said that he didn't do it. Oprah did that. Oh, when has Oprah, if she's so pro-Black woman, right? When has Oprah ever, one time, name me one single time, Oprah has ever opened her platform for any of the women that Harvey Weinstein has violated to come up and to speak their truth? And Harvey Weinstein's still alive, mind you. Not even just the women, the Black women especially, or anybody, because Harvey Weinstein was on women, men, boys, girls. He was on everybody. So you're going to do this against Michael Jackson after the case has been closed for years, after he's been dead for years, but you're not going to say nothing about your white boy. But you pro-sister, right? Now, this also leads us to Taraji. I made an Instagram live and I showed this on YouTube. And if you guys haven't seen it, you guys probably want to. Now, Taraji, in a recent interview, she was crying when she was doing promotion about how essentially in her career, she don't really get paid that much. Not even just with this film, but really in her career, she don't really make that much money. Okay. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, she doesn't make that much money because she's a Black woman. I said that. I even said that. I said it's because you're a Black woman. Black, that being the emphasis on the word Black, not woman, because I can name you a bunch of white women who get paid very well for the movies that they're a part of, but Taraji's not getting paid. So it's not you being a woman, it's you being a Black individual. But she didn't say that. Taraji did not say that. Here is what Taraji had to say. This comes from her Instagram. She takes a picture next to her girl, Oprah Winfrey. The gal Oprah. She says, hold on, let me move my logo out the way because I can't really see it that well with my logo there. Move that the way for a little bit. She says, this is her Instagram after she broke down in tears, crying about how hard it is and all this and all that, right? She says, Taraji P. Henson is so important for Black women in all caps, ALL, women of color, to support each other. And so you guys know, this is proof that women of color does not mean Black. It doesn't. It does not mean Black. Okay? Because why would you say Black women and women of color? If women of color meant Black, they would not be saying Black and women of color. Women of color has to mean non-Black. That's what it has to mean. All right? So let's not play that. We can't play that game. That if it meant women of color, if women of color meant Black, that's like me saying, well, it's important to Black men and men in the Black community. That don't really make sense. So it has to be different. So she says Black women and all women of color. Okay. Now it's not Black women and Black men, but Black women and other women of color. All right. Then she says, it is also imperative to have women of color in decision-making positions across all industries. Okay. Women of color. Okay. Thank you for responding to my message with the compassion, understanding, and support that I've received. With that being said, Miss Oprah has been nothing less than a steady and solid beacon of light to all caps now, all caps, to all of the cast of The Color Purple. I'm sure she has, because she pocketing the money. Y'all not getting it. Y'all not getting the money. Taraji, that's what you was crying for. She's been a beacon of light. She can shine bright like a diamond because she's wearing them with all the money she's keeping that you're not getting. That's why. She's been nothing but with happy and joyful because she's getting rich and you not. That's why. I'm telling you right now. Oprah always comes in here with a smile. That's because she's getting paid. That's because she's making the money. That's why. Okay. I just solved your question, Taraji. Then she continues to say, she has provided, all caps, encouragement, guidance, and unwavering support to all of us, except financially. You know, that's that one little thing we're working on that. We're, trying to get that together. We're, baby steps. But unwavering support, emotionally, physically, mentally, but not financially. We're still working on that part. All right. Not financially, though. All right. Oprah's a little cheap. After the you get a bag and you get a bag and you get a bag and you get a bag, and enough of those be all like, hey, we only got a couple bags. You get a bag, you get a bag. I'm sorry, you don't get a bag today. Yeah, you saw Oprah stop that real quick. Because she sure wasn't coming on to the cast. You get a check and you get a check and you get a check and you get a check. She wasn't doing that. She was like, you get a check and you share it with everybody else. That's what she was like. All right. She says, Taraji is saying, she told me personally to reach out to her for anything I needed, and I did. Did you reach out for money, Taraji? Taraji, did you reach out for a check? Because you was crying about money. So did you reach out for the money? Or did she give you a couple dollars? Now you sitting up there like, Oprah is like a mom to me. I love her. I get it, man. It's the end of the year. First of the month is due. The rent is due. She said, I love you, Oprah. Thank you. I mean, come on. when folks do stuff like this, we know, yeah, first of the month is coming. First of the month. I get it, Taraji, but you ain't got to go this heavy body. Like, come on. I get that. I mean, was Oprah threatening you? Like, blink twice if you need some help. I don't know. Oh, but she continues to say, it took one call, one conversation, and one decision-making Black woman to make me feel heard. Okay, to make you feel heard, not paid. Notice she didn't use the word paid. She feels heard. She don't feel rich. She don't feel paid. She does feel heard. I guess that matters too. And then she says, thank you to Miss Oprah for all that you do. Oh, okay. All right now. Okay. Well, okay then, Taraji. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to get this up to me. Hold on. And this is why. Oh, yeah, being heard don't pay the bills. I wish you go to your landlord and be all like, I feel so listened to by my boss. Not paid, but one conversation, and I just let it go. I cried and I talked about it, and I feel so much better. The boss is like, oh, okay, well, I want to feel better too with money. And see, this is what I was saying when I made my live stream about the Taraji thing. Taraji, you got to come better than that. All that crying and stuff like that, and look how quickly you flipped into thank you, Oprah, thank you. You so kind, you so great. Oprah was one of the producers, so Oprah was a factor into how much she got paid for that movie. She's one of the producers. So that, and Oprah has a history of being a part of films where the Black talent doesn't get paid. You can ask Monique about that. Monique got into it with Oprah about the exact same thing. But you didn't see Monique sitting up there backtracking and sitting up there, thank you, Oprah, you're like a mom to me. She wasn't doing that. And this is what I said. From now on, we're close to the end of 2023. From now on, what we're going to stop doing, what we absolutely need to stop doing is saying the word Black on another person's behalf. We cannot do that anymore. If they are saying something, whether it's because they're Black or not, we need to stop saying the word Black on their behalf, because Taraji did not say Black. Taraji was talking about how she was underpaid, and everybody around her was saying Black, 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 Black. And it was because she was Black, but she didn't say that. And I said, she's not saying that, because when you say the word Black, you put yourself in the danger zone. And a lot of Black celebrities don't want to put themselves in the danger zone because they want to be able to apologize in a phone call and be like, oh, it's fair and love and war, and we talked it out, we have an issue, but we're cool now. So that's why they don't like to say the word Black. And if that's the case, that's fine. That's fine. Next time you have a problem, go to the women of color that you wanted to represent and that you wanted to be a part of all industries. Go cry to the women of color. Go cry to them. Don't be expecting no more support. The Black community, I'm saying, that needs to be an absolute not. I don't care if it's a Black celebrity. I don't even care if it's police brutality. And I'm being very, very serious about this. Very, very serious. Life or death, even serious. That needs to stop happening, because when we say Black, we put ourselves in the danger zone of the consequences of calling out the anti-Blackness. Y'all want to stay protected and hidden in the shadows, and then after the fighting is done, y'all walking over bodies and picking up a bag and smiling and taking a picture and shaking a hand. Absolutely not. Not anymore. That's what I said in the Taraji thing. I said, Taraji, unless you can say black, I can't really back you. I'm not gonna sit up there. Now I can admit you are underpaid. I can admit that. I can admit that's bogus. I can admit the thing with Terrence Howard was bogus. I can admit the thing with Monique was bogus. I can admit all of those things. But how many of you guys are saying it's because you're black? Monique said it was because she was black. She did say it was because she was a woman. She was tripping on that a little bit. She was. But she said the word black. She wasn't afraid to put herself in the danger zone. All of y'all are afraid to put yourself in the danger zone. I don't know why I'm being underpaid. I'm the only person of color in the movie. Well, go ask the person of color, the people of color community to go back you up. Go ask them. If you are too afraid to say the word black, don't expect an ounce of black support then. Because we, as black people, are not going to sit here and be in spearhead you guys and y'all agenda and sit there and spearhead that, take the blows, fight the protests, fight the battles, and do all of this, and then for you to say, Oprah, you're like a goddess to me, I love you. We're not gonna do that. We're not going to do that. So since you wanted to backtrack, fine. And don't you ever cry about being underpaid again. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Don't you cry about that. Don't you come running back. Don't you do that now. Okay. I hope Oprah backs you up the way you think she is, the way you think she will. But don't you dare thinking you're going to be coming back here. And this doesn't just go for Taraji. This goes for everybody, whether it's right or wrong, because it would be wrong. It would be wrong for Taraji to be underpaid the way she was. That's wrong. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to sit here and sit up there and say, we're fighting on your behalf, Taraji. Taraji, you are a part of an anti-black male movie that is being displayed in theaters right now, that is being used to cause gender division propaganda in the black community. That's being used to cause gender division propaganda, and you sitting up there crying while you while you're being a part of a film that's destructive to the black community. And you don't even want to say you don't even want to say the problem is you black. You on your own. Or you can go talk to Oprah, because we all know how much she loves women of color, don't we? Or you can talk to the women of whoever, wherever they might be, and you can talk to the women of color to back you up. You can do that. You can do that, and that's fine. But this is why I say 2023, that got to stop. That has to stop. It don't matter how right they are. It don't matter what wrong has happened to them. We can even acknowledge the fact that, yeah, that was wrong. It was wrong. But unless you gonna say this has happened to me because of anti-black racism, no, we can't do it. Can't do it. That's you signing the contract. Hey, we can't do nothing till you sign. We can't do nothing till you sign, baby. You sign this contract. Oh, you don't want to sign? That's fine. That's fine. That's cool. That's cool. Ain't nothing on this contract count until you sign. Until you put that quote right there. Right there. You see the line right there? You put that right there. Oh, all right. Okay, fine. Because you don't want to get in the danger zone. You don't want to get blackballed. Okay. All right. Don't complain. Don't complain no more. Don't complain no more. That's all I got to say about it. That is quite literally the only thing. You should be ashamed of yourself. If anything, the black community should be on your ass about you being a part of this destructive film. While you sitting up there crying like a baby. Okay. All right. Whatever. Here's the thing. We have to push back against propaganda like this. We have to push back against propaganda like this. Okay? Because propaganda like this is not a joke. It's not light. It's not innocent. It's not to be taken as a unserious matter. It is a very serious matter because propaganda like this leads to the Mike Browns, leads to the Trayvon Martins, leads to the Eric Gardners, leads to the Tamir Rice, leads to the George Floyds. Okay, that leads to the Breonna Taylors, that leads to the Sandra Blands, that leads to the Tatiana Jeffersons, and so on. And so on. This is why we have to speak against that type of propaganda. All right? So we need all hands on deck with that. All hands on deck. All right? Now, before we get off here, like I said before, I need my mods to check out my community page, my community tab. Y'all go check that community tab out. All of my mods need to check that community tab out before this weekend. I've already had multiple mods message me about what's in the community tab. It's not really it's not no, I'm not going to get on y'all and nothing like that. We're moving forward with the channel, and I want to be in sync with my mods about how we're going to be moving forward. So I need all of the mods to check out the community tab and to get back to get back with me on that. Thank you, Tor. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. You sent the email. I'm gonna check when I get off. Thank you very much. All right. The Cash App is in the description. It is Afro Elite 10. All right. That's the same thing as the PayPal. That's the same thing as the Zelle. And I appreciate that. Now, with that being said, make sure you all follow me on my various social media platforms, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and then The Afro Elite on Twitter. All right. The links to both of those are also in the description as well. Please, we are very, very, very close. We have a little bit of time left, but we have a little bit of subscribers left to go as well. Like the time is right here, but we're right here with it. So we're very, very close. We need all hands on deck. Everybody got a like bomb. Everybody got to subscribe, share, retweet, take the link, copy the link, send the link, whatever you have to do. We are all hands on deck with this. This has got to be everybody's mission, all right? Everybody's mission. So we got to make sure we hit that subscribe button. Now, with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all. And of course, you all have a good one.